Welcome to another edition of Voices from the Hill. This is State Representative Carol Faiola, and today with me and with us together is our Representative Paul Schmid.
Pleasure to be here.
And Representative Alan Sylvia.
It's always nice to be with my colleagues, and especially as we're getting prepared for the Christmas season. It's a great thing, Carol.
Yep, this is our holiday edition, I guess, which will be running all the month of December. I do want to duly note that Senator Michael Rodrigues was unfortunately unable to join us in this section. We usually see the four of us together, but the three of us will take it today, and we know he'll be back with us, I'm sure, next month. Gentlemen? It's been a busy month.
I would just, well, before we mention what we've been doing, I would just like to mention that we are all dressed for the occasion.
Absolutely.
I think.
Very handsome with your red. Oh, you actually have little stockings on yours.
We were all baking Christmas cookies for each other, and I was reminded yesterday that we had to wear a little red, so I think it looks very nice.
You look very handsome, and you know, we're glad to be with you once again for this edition, and to fill you in and update you on some of the things we've been doing as your legislative delegation. And I just want to open this program with a comment to both of my more senior or tenured representatives that you didn't tell me they were 15-hour days. You didn't warn me that these days were at least that long.
You know, I of course, Representative Smith has a little more experience than I, but when we were at budget time, we were going very late in the evening till 11 midnight. And this past week, of course, you experienced a few nights where we were there very late. And of course, I think it was Wednesday night, we were there till 11 o'clock or so. It was a long day. So,
they were long days, but I think we all agree that we got some good things accomplished. And I'm just going to mention a couple of things that I know my colleagues agree with me are very important. One was welfare reform. And that is a subject which has been part of a bipartisan effort. And the welfare bill which we passed really had two parts. One was reforming eligibility, tightening up standards, making it harder to game the system, which we all know has happened.
Yep. And you know, it's important for folks to know, because sometimes people read things that the Republicans are at odds with us. This was voted upon unanimously, which was very interesting. We expected much more of a fight on the floor, but we had been working so long on the and leadership, and lots of credit, of course, to Speaker DeLeo and Pat Haddad and the leadership team. But we had all submitted things into Ways and Means regarding fraud and the EBT card and use of EBT cards out of state. All of those issues that were very detailed, and all said and done, it's more extensive than I thought it would be, and it's probably now, thankfully, the best transitional assistance bill that could be. I don't see much in the way. I'm sure somebody will find a flaw with it, but it's really very interesting how the workforce development piece, I think, is an important piece, where the requirement to seek work and be educated and trained in the GED process. So I think there are a lot of positive things in there.
Yep. And the other part, excuse me,
please.
Representative Faiola, I was just going to throw out that the other part to it was that we are investing in the Department of Transitional Assistance, helping those folks out who have caseloads, in many cases, in many situations, as many as 1,000 cases per person. And we are going to invest in more staff, and we are also going to invest in better computer systems. Believe it or not, right now we don't know if one of our clients has died until someone from their family comes into the office and says, I've got a lot of uncashed checks because my aunt passed away 3 months ago.
And it's that software piece, though, and we just did, there was another technology thing.
We did IT for the state, but as Rep. Schmid and you have said, I think we want the viewers to clearly know that we do not want abuse. We absolutely want reform, and we want the people who need help to get it.
Very important.
And this bill that we speak of, there's a lot of details to it that you may or may not look to in the coming months. But rest assured, it comes to you after a lot of deliberation, a lot of people weighing in, a lot of discussion, and a lot of expertise behind it to ensure, as the representatives have said as well, that the coordination of computer systems are in effect so that the left hand and the right hand know what the heck's going on. That there, the photographs, all that's been done. That's not coming online already. So we are making steps, and we want you to know that we care as deeply as you do to make the right changes without hurting those that have the need.
I think that's,
so that's really
that's one of the most important points is we know that there are so many people in our community that need help.
Right.
And there's only 1%, remember them talking about that number when we were on the Hill? 1% of those who are abusing that process of the out-of-state EBTs and out-of-country EBT use. So there are so many people in need, and just look at Fall River, nearly 80% of students receiving subsidized lunch. Just to show you the need that folks have. So we want to be sure that they get the help they need, and at the same time, it's a very fair system for the taxpayers.
So if you see fraud, if you truly see fraud going on, call. Every point of purchase location has a phone number. We have phone numbers. Let us know. So on that note, shall we move on to some other topics?
Sure.
I think that was a good one to kick off with.
That was excellent, Rep. Schmidt. And I want to tell you something. It's December, it's November still, and I just came an hour ago from an event, and I want to show you the event that I came from because I know both of you are as involved as I am, and that is the beginning. I'm putting on my
Representative
props.
Viola,
I want to tell you where I was.
Stealing the show from all of us.
You know,
You had the corn last month. I have the. I just
I'm going
want
to
to tell
have to
you.
do something for January.
Listen,
but
this is not attractive.
We
I
had
know.
no idea she was doing this,
Nope.
and nor did we know that last month Paul was going to do the corn. He came out with corn, but go ahead.
So
A quick
what
note.
were you doing?
I was watching the first ramps, the first spaghetti ramps of Route 79 being demolished. And so I want you to know that this team and yes, progress is painful and we'll be having some traffic flow issues, but I want just the viewers to realize that good things are happening. Construction means we're making progress here in this community, and we're going to have construction, the patterns, the traffic patterns for the next approximately 18 months will be in place. Find your new routes and watch this construction happening because it is amazing, and it is the beginning. It is the beginning of more great things to come. And it was a lot of fun to watch the bulldozers, excuse me for a second, to watch the bulldozers and the cranes and to watch such dramatic change take place. And so we're on it, and we're excited, aren't we?
You know, we all three of us were down at the Battleship earlier this week, and we had some members of Mass Development down here to work on grant money to support our Battleship Cove. And we asked them to turn and look up at the city and imagine the city without the spaghetti ramps, and imagine how the waterfront and the city will be once again reunited. And
It's quite the
people say that the best days of Fall River are ahead of us, and I think when you see this going on, you become a believer.
And you know, we saw some of that when we saw the 3D Department of Transportation, how they lowered, how they were doing. I was amazed by that. But to think of that open, the new development space that is available for that waterfront, the shipping, the new state pier, the grant that's from Department of Transportation, it's going to reshape the entire city of Fall River. And you know, for all of those people who've complained, and I haven't heard that many, the 3-cent increase in gas tax.
It's the lowest it's ever been.
The gas has come down 25 cents in the past few weeks. And look what we're getting in Fall River. We're getting a couple of $1 billion worth of Department of Transportation work on our highways and dropping the ramp, the Braga Bridge project, the the State Pier grant project.
Boardwalks, I've been, you know, we've been
DCR.
badgering a little bit to get that done, and of course winter months make a difference, but the boardwalk is going to be redone to people. You know, I'm out there an awful lot with a lot of you, and we know the wooden boardwalks are difficult to maneuver now. They've been there for so long, the splintering, that's already been approved. So we're going to be replacing those. So we want you to know these are the kind of projects that your delegation's working on, and while things are not perfect, and as we talk about the holiday season and the needs of so many, you know, we're talking about some of the good things because it's easy to focus on the bad. So we just wanted to share a couple of projects like that with us, with our viewers. And what else, Paul?
Talk a little bit about the merry-go-round.
Oh, yeah. Well, the merry-go-round, our carousel, it's been there for 20 years now, 23 years or so. And, you know, things happen over that amount of time. The roof was leaking. There's some repairs that needed to happen. So we have been working, and we know that the Economic Development Office has just started redoing the roof. And so that's going to make a huge difference, and they're starting some repairs. Diamond Regional and the Carousel project together, they'll be working on repairs as I go around here. And we are working on solidifying finally between the state agencies of DCAM and DCR, which doesn't mean a lot to all of you listening, but what it means is there's a lot of bureaucracy to get things done. And our job is to get through that bureaucracy and help our city get what it needs. And so we're finally getting the right lease in place. It's underway so that by next spring,
That'll be open.
hold us to it, next spring we can have new life on that carousel so that you can bring your children and grandchildren and visitors and guests down. And so this waterfront, we keep talking a lot about it, but between the ramps, the Peter and Tom who are rebuilding the Regatta restaurant, the Commonwealth Landing project with Tony and Alan and Larry. I use those names because you know them. You know, the owners of Commonwealth Landing with Bristol Community College's investment in there. It's the battleship, which is a jewel of the nation. We have a lot to be proud of.
I just want to throw something in because it just came up. We were there about a week or so ago. We had a meeting with the train from Iowa Pacific.
All right, yeah, coastal.
Destination coastal train, destination trains. And I was amazed by, we had the president of Iowa Pacific Trains come to the State House, and we had that meeting with him. And this is not 6 years away. When we talk about South Coast Rail, we're always talking long times, you know, 7 years, 6 years.
20 years.
This is something that can happen as soon as next year. And I was excited to hear, and I know most folks will be as well, to think of course, this won't be high-speed rail, but it'll be trains that will leave Fall River down at Battleship Cove, destination trains, they're called. It could be Polar Express, where you would board with your children around this time of the year after Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving, ride up either toward the Cape or toward Boston, and be able to experience on board somewhat of a show with Polar Express, a Christmas theme, and also 2 round trips on a Saturday or Sunday to Boston, where people could go and enjoy a show, go to dinner, come back, and folks would come down and see the Battleship.
Not high speed.
Not high, 30 miles an hour.
But it's leisurely and it's tourist related.
And people, if you remember, and of course all of us do, Edaville Railroad when we were children, to get on the train and go on the track. This would be a similar type where there would be something up toward the Cranberry Bogs or to the Cape, or there'd be a number of things that they could do, but it was exciting to see what they're doing in other parts of the country. And
what's possible here.
What's possible here, and not only that, what it means to South Coast Rail, because as these tracks that are now being prepared are really setting the stage to prepare South Coast Rail, and that's one of the things that we're focused on.
You're right.
Talking of South Coast Rail, that was one of the things that we all remarked on last night when we heard an update on the next phase of Route 79. Whereas we know 79 is going to be put down on on the street level. It's going to be a boulevard, as you mentioned earlier. That's going to open up a lot of space for development. And of course, right next to the new Route 79 will be the rail stop.
It's a plan
Very
that's
exciting.
looking, it's becoming a reality, and that's what's exciting. Just because I know we're timely, and there were a couple of things you gentlemen, just as we sat down, talked about, and one of them I wanted to say is, we talked about some of the legislation and the long hours we put in. I know Alan wanted to briefly talk about the bills on prescription
Right.
medicine, how important that is, and why don't you highlight
I
that?
filed 2 bills, and I thank my colleagues for joining in on that. We already had 14 co-sponsors to those bills. And basically, and it was an idea that came from Tom Pasternak, who was a pharmacist in the city. Many of you know him. And he found out by going to a seminar in Miami that Blue Cross Blue Shield required their providers not to write prescriptions for Class 2 controlled substance. Those are those prescriptions that are highly addictive, the oxycodone, the Vicodin, and they could no longer write prescriptions for more than 15 days. And because of that, Blue Cross Blue Shield saved $34 million in 1 year. Now, what if that same concept was taking place in Massachusetts, especially with Mass Health clients? We know that there's a major epidemic. The disease of addiction is a terrible disease, but so many people are having access to these Class 2 controlled substances. Now, part of what some people were concerned with, well, are their grandparents still going to be able to get their medications if they need it? For palliative care or for near-death care, people will be able to get those medications. They'll be able to give them 90 days or 60 days. This is for folks who have had a day surgery or have had a tooth pulled or that we're getting 30 days of oxycodone, and now we'll only be getting 15 days or less. This saves the taxpayers lots of dollars. It also lessens the amount of illegal sales of drugs out on our streets. So I think it's been well received, as you know, if you heard up at the State House. I'm excited about the 2 bills. And yesterday, not to linger on that, but yesterday, Representative Fiola was very influential in getting on the floor a synthetic marijuana bill. I thought it wasn't going to make it to the floor, but Representative Fiola has only been there not so long, but she was
55 days, I think.
down in the reading with the chairman for reading
Third
readings and pushing that bill out, and we were talking about it and going. Carol, she's all excited. The bill's going to get on the floor.
I was
It was
excited.
And it
exciting.
did.
Well,
and it's a
Bravo.
good bill. It's a good bill.
That's how things happen.
That's how things. You're
Somebody
right.
pushes.
You got to push.
Well, it's really interesting how, and again, if we had more time, which we don't, but how this whole process works. But I was in a committee hearing on mental health, which I serve on, and drug abuse, and substance abuse. You know how important that bill is, and how we've been to the drug summit recently that the mayor had, and we've been talking to people throughout the community. It's an epidemic, we know that. But synthetic marijuana was something that is being sold in the convenience stores. And what happens is the ingredients are hazardous ingredients. Make no mistake about it. Synthetic marijuana is not pot as we know it. It is not medical marijuana, which is controlled. These are hazardous substances that are put together and packaged to look attractive. And so when the young people see it, they know in the underground, if you will, that that's the substitute marijuana. And these are dangerous chemicals that are packaged, that our young people, even though it says on the package in tiny letters, not for substance, not for human consumption, that's what they do with it.
And
They
they're
get
dying.
it
They're
and they
dying from
smoke.
it.
We've watched videos. There's hallucinogenic reactions, paranoia,
out the window.
schizophrenic reactions. But anyway, there was already a bill in place. And our last day of session was on Wednesday. And I was early in the morning at an executive committee meeting, and that bill was looked at. And I said, wait a minute, this is our last session. What will happen? And that bill would have lingered, and God knows when it could get out. Well, it was exciting to be a part of the process, as Rep. Sylvia said. I went right over to the third reading chair, who I've gotten to know over the last 50 days, right over to the speaker, and was able to face-to-face and talk to him how important this is. Because what this bill does is it gives immediate ability, emergency powers to the Department of Public Health Commissioner to rule an ingredient in that packaging as hazardous. And in the past, you'd have to wait to go through a whole process to deem it hazardous. Now, those drugs, because those packagers of those synthetic legal drugs change an ingredient as soon as one is deemed illegal. They quickly change the mixture and then put it right back out on the packaging in the convenience stores for our children to consume. Well, guess what? Emergency powers will allow the DPH to say, call down to Fall River and talk to Dr. Valancourt, Marilyn Edge, and she can go into that convenience store. So if any convenience store operators are listening or watching this, please know, we know how this works. And we don't want to see our children killed or hurt by these kind of crazy substances.
And just to add to that, this will allow our Board of Health now, after the commissioner makes that decision,
Pull it out of the stores.
To pull it right out of the stores. So no longer is the profit going to be there. And as you mentioned, the convenience stores. And unfortunately, that's where this drug is sold. This synthetic marijuana is sold. So, and again, it shows what we can do together because it was a unanimous vote after that was explained. And it's so good to see everyone working together to get something done that's going to improve the quality of life for people. And I just want to say, and I know we're losing time, but how great it is to be able to work together, the three of us. I mean, I've been overjoyed. People who come to me and say, you know, you folks are doing commercials together, you're working together, and I feel so good about that. And we seem to be really making things work for us in Fall River and in our area.
Yeah. And Freetown for me, of course, as well, and for you, Westport.
Westport and a little piece of New Bedford. Let's not forget that.
It's an honor. To be with you and to do this. And
thank you.
I'm having a great. It's a great pleasure for me to be able to see something like this happen, where we know we're changing and helping people in their lives. So
it's one step at a time. Please don't think we're miracle workers. We just we want to hear from you. We are here as public servants to help make our community a little bit better, and I'm pleased also to say how warmly received I've been by this delegation. Now, Rep. Schmidt, and Rep. Sylvia, let's talk a little bit about the holiday season for a moment and how important it is. We had a conversation yesterday about some of the things that people can do in this community and what it means to people. Do you want to talk a little bit about how we can help this holiday season, perhaps?
Oh, my heavens, yes. And because, let's face it, government can't do everything. We work very hard, and we have wonderful people here in Fall River administering our programs. But at the end of the day, we all, as a community, have to chip in. I'll just give you an example.
Please do.
I was just down at the Fall River Arts Association. They are working to keep the Cherry and Webb Gallery open, which we just heard may close. They ran out of their grant, but a group of citizens are getting together. They'd like to see the Fall River Art Association operate the Cherry and Webb Gallery, and we all know how important arts and culture is to our community, how important it is to attracting young people, attracting tourists, and keeping South Main Street a vibrant pedestrian street. So some of our folks may hear, somebody may come up and ask, won't you help out, keep the Fall River arts scene vibrant, keep the Cherry and Webb Gallery open, and we hope everyone will chip in. Now, that wasn't exactly seasonal.
No, but it's another example.
It's part of the community.
You raised something so important, Rep. Schmidt, and this community will only continue to grow and improve when we, the citizens, not as state representatives, that's a piece of it, but when we as a community work together. You mentioned the Art Association and the phenomenal work that they do. We know that the Narrows, for example, is, if anyone viewing this now has not been to visit the Narrows down on the waterfront, please put it on your calendar of events. Whether you attend a show or not, go up. They always have a gallery. Tony Hendricks, who used to be work for the post office and design special stamps, he's got a whole gallery in there of his artwork that is phenomenal. We have different vendors who make jewelry and other artists there. Patrick Norton, Kathleen Duffy, others. They're working so hard and to bring culture and arts to our community. That's just one piece over there. I was at the Forever Paws fundraiser. As you know, we all attend all of these events all the time. Groups banding together for a cause are the ones who are making our community better. Helping by everyone donating a little bit at a time, it makes us stronger.
And we just saw that, we see this is the time of the year, we mention always, so many people in line at soup kitchens and food pantries open, where we forget sometimes that there are so many people who are unemployed, and so please, Christmas is upon us. There's something you can do in the way of a smile or a good thought, or even getting together with neighborhood associations to collect cans or food and deliver it to a food bank. I know at our constituent office we're going to be collecting cans. We have been doing that now in preparation for Christmas, and I know you folks are doing some of the same things. But if we do those things together, I think we can make a lasting difference in our community and make it a better place. And it's great to be able to do that together.
Paul, Alan, Paul and Ellen, when we talk about the holiday season, you transition to a really good point. Whether it's the Salvation Army, whether it's the Holy Trinity Soup Kitchen, whether it's the Sacred Heart Soup Kitchen, food pantry, your church, a neighbor, an elderly neighbor, someone who's out of a job and trying to hold things together in their family. It doesn't have to be an act of fanfare. Maybe it's stopping at the Boys and Girls Club and donating a toy or $10 or $2. That's what is the fabric of this community. And we all do this. We're not preaching. All of you do it in your way. We do it in our way. And I guess we're just here to remember that this is a time where people try to get together and help one another.
Important time of the year.
And it's really that time to show that to one another, isn't it?
I know we're going to see many folks from Fall River along the route of the Christmas parade early in December, and the same day is the Christmas Arts and Crafts Show.
Oh, at Durfee,
up
that's
at
right.
Durfee, which supports a wonderful cause. So there are many, many opportunities to come together as a community and celebrate the season. And I'll just, as a way of signing off, extend my own personal best wishes for the holiday season to everyone, and a happy, healthy New Year.
Thank you, Paul. Alan,
Yep.
before we
And,
go?
I too, to everyone, not just my district, but to everyone in our community, a happy New Year and a very, very Merry Christmas. And please think about us as we go through that process.
And as we wrap it up, I would also, from my family to yours, bring you great greetings of good health, happiness, and kindness to everyone. And Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and
We'll see you in
thank you
January.
all. Thank you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Happy Hanukkah too, everyone.
So,
So.
we're ready now.